Hi, and good morning, everyone, or I guess afternoon, depending on where you are. In today's live, I am talking about protein, specifically how much protein you actually need. And I'm excited to be here with you today talking about this hot topic. And to start, I want to know how many of you are on a high protein diet. So just let me know in the chat if you're on a high protein diet or you've ever been on a high protein diet. Put it in the chat. If you are worried you're not getting enough protein in your diet, you actively try to get more protein in your diet. You buy products based on how much protein it contains, and you just try to eat as much protein as possible, or you feel it's hard to get enough protein in your diet, so you use protein supplements. Let me know if in the chat if that describes you. You've been on a high protein diet, or you currently are on a high protein diet. Whether you're watching this live or on the replay, I would like to know. So just comment below, and as you join in today, just put your name in there, say hello so I know who is watching. Okay, so I'll just give you a second. All right, again, put in the chat, are you on a high protein diet? So this described me at one point. I was on a high protein diet. For breakfast, I had several eggs or egg whites every morning. And then for lunch, I would have, a turkey sandwich or a chicken for lunch. I used protein powder. I used amino energy. And then for dinner, I pretty much always have, again, more lean chicken for dinner because the more protein, the better, right? Protein will help me lose weight. Protein will keep me more full and satisfied, which again will help me to lose or maintain my weight. Protein will just go straight into my muscles. At least this is what I've been told and thought. And I didn't know how much protein I was actually getting per day, but all I knew was that I tried to focus on this macronutrient and just try to get as much as I can. And so I want to ask you, another question. I actually asked this question on my Instagram stories the other day, but what is the recommended daily allowance for protein? So what percentage of your daily calorie intake should come from protein? So if you know the answer, put that in the chat, or if you want to just take a guess, put that in the chat. I'd love to kind of hear your thoughts. So just put that in the comments. Also, if you had to guess, what percentage do you think you should aim for each day? What percentage do you try to aim for? Is it 10%, 15, 20, 25, 30%? What percentage of your total daily calories should you aim to get from protein? Hey, Amy, I see that you have joined me today. We're talking about protein, as you know. So if you could comment below, if you're on a high protein diet or you try to get protein in your diet, what is the RDA? Oh, Katie guessed 10%. I think it's because I've told Katie in the past, because I remember when I first talked to her and asked her, she thought it was a different percentage. So again, I'll give you a little bit more time to respond. I know there's a little bit of delay here on Facebook, and then I'll share what the RDA is. And then I'll share, what most people indicated via the Instagram survey or quiz that I had the other day, which is, again, just the typical response whenever I ask someone. And it also aligns with what I would have said too back in the day. Okay, Amy guesses 25%. Okay, so I like my morning vegan protein shake. Okay, so the US government RDA for your daily protein intake is 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight. So not pounds, kilogram, which is about equivalent to a kilogram is 2.2 pounds. And so this amounts to only 9 to 10% of your total calories. And this RDA amount was first determined in the early 1940s, and this scientific experiment of how this number was derived has stood the test of time ever since. And this amount is actually 2 standard deviations above the estimated average requirement, which is zero point 0.5 to zero point 0.6 grams of protein required per kilogram of body weight in order to compensate for the amount that is lost each day. And so they went up and above the ear in order to then meet the needs of 98% of the population. And so, in other words, the amount needed is actually a little bit lower for the average person. And so, according to the RDA, not the ear, to get to the 8 to 10% mark, the average woman only needs about 46 grams of protein per day. But with all the hype on protein and low carb diets, Americans regularly consume, double this amount. And this aligns with people's responses who say, that we should get at least 20% of our calories from protein. We are just so focused on getting enough protein, this one macronutrient, and we have this fear or belief that if we don't get enough, then, our muscles will wither away or will gain weight or whatever it is. But the truth is, there is no such thing as a protein deficiency if you're eating enough calories. And so I don't want you to get me wrong here. Protein is vital. It's an essential nutrient. Your body needs protein not only to build and repair muscle tissues, but just for a wide array of important bodily functions. And so protein is important. But have you or anyone you've ever known ever been diagnosed by a doctor for a protein deficiency? So let me know in the comments. I'm going to venture to say no. Why? Because protein is in all of our foods. And of course, there are some foods that have more than others. The percentage of protein in apple is less than the percentage that comes from green peas, for example. But even if you weighed 150 pounds, you would only need 54 grams of protein per day. And if you were to eat nothing but plain baked potatoes for a day, on a 2,000 calorie diet, I calculated it out using Chronometer, and it would provide your 54 grams of protein. And if you were to eat green peas all day on that 2,000 calorie diet, which is a common plant-based source of protein, you would get a whopping 132 grams of protein. And so, of course, no one would only eat just baked potatoes every day. Well, maybe I would. And actually, there are people who have done that. Or, they wouldn't eat just peas all day, nor would I recommend you do that, because it's much better to get a variety in your diet in order to get complete nutrition. But the point is, it's not hard to get adequate protein, and more isn't better. So more protein is not better. Scientific evidence shows that increasing dietary protein within the range of 10 to 20% is associated with just about every one of our major health problems, especially when that protein is coming from animal-based sources, which is what most Americans eat a lot of in order to get enough protein. So hence why we have so much, health problems, despite the fact that we get so much more protein than so many other countries. I actually think we might be get the most protein out of any country. At least the Western countries do. But we spend the most on healthcare. We are probably the sickest. And so if you want to learn more about, the link between protein and kind of the major health concerns or the dangers of a high protein diet, I highly recommend the China study. It's a great book, very informative and eye-opening. And what I found super ironic and interesting via my recent survey is that pretty much I think 100% of those who responded indicating that they were trying to get more protein in their diet, they also knew that high animal protein diets have been associated with heart disease and cancer. And so I'm not really sure why, if you know that animal-based protein diets lead to our top killers, why then you would actively pursue to get more protein and animal protein in their diet. To me, there's a huge disconnect there. But, for those reasons, I recommend, to minimize your risk of chronic diseases, I recommend limiting or eliminating animal-based protein sources from your diet. and instead eat predominantly whole plant-based foods and a variety of them. Because what I've learned is that the real concern is not about getting enough protein, but rather getting enough fiber, which comes exclusively from plants. And 97% of Americans are fiber deficient. So we focus so much on protein, but really there's no protein deficiency. There's a fiber deficiency, but we're not worried about, getting enough fiber. Um, and so, we're getting just way too much animal meat and not enough plants or fiber in our diet, and that should be our real concern. And so if you're wondering how much protein you specifically need, you can calculate your daily requirement by multiplying your weight in pounds by 0.36 to get the grams of protein that you need a day. So I'll repeat that again. You can take your weight in pounds, multiply that by 0.36, and that will give you the amount of grams of protein that you need in a day. And if you want, you can also put your food intake into a website like Chronometer, and you can estimate how much protein you're actually getting in your diet. It will tell you the amount of grams, so you could try that out. But for me, it's not something that I track or worry about. I am aware of what foods have protein or more protein in them, and so I make to some degree an effort to eat these foods, especially beans, but also because I just love beans. But otherwise, it's not something that I track. I don't go out of my way to increase my intake. I don't use any protein supplements. So unless you're like a bodybuilder trying to grow excessively large muscles, or like a high level endurance athlete or a pro athlete, which I don't believe you are watching this video, or maybe you have like a really small appetite, you don't eat a lot, then maybe you want to try to increase your protein intake, and you might benefit from a protein shake. But the caveat is, for those athletes, the bodybuilders, pro athletes, high endurance athletes, they require more calories to sustain them. They're burning a lot of calories, so they need to eat a lot more. And when you consume more calories, you're going to automatically increase your protein intake. For example, if you're eating 3 meals and now all of a sudden you went to 4 to 5 meals, you're increasing your calories, and by default, you're going to increase the amount of grams you're getting from protein. And so if you just eat more food, you're going to get more protein. And so again, I want to just go back to this high protein craze. Protein is important, but know that people are making an awful lot of money selling protein supplements. That's how so many fitness influencers make their money, is selling you protein supplements. And the meat and dairy industry pay oodles of money to for advertising and to influence scientific research and outcomes to get you to believe that more protein the better, and to make you believe that you need more. And because they have ingrained that into us and we've been indoctrinated, it changes our buying behavior. And so marketers know that if they just slap protein on their food package, people will buy it. And so I just want you to be aware of that, to get you to start to think differently about protein or your food choices. Because again, the food industry, the supplement industry, they're not concerned about your health. They just want your money. And so you have to advocate for yourself. You have to be educated so that you can be empowered to make the right, dietary choices for you and your family, both now and long term. And so if you want to learn more about protein, I'll be talking more about this hot topic on Thursday in my private Facebook group. So if you want to learn more about protein, about nutrition, I'll be covering topics like fitness and faith, body image, your identity in Christ. Then you're welcome to join this growing community. Just put in the comments or send me a private message saying that I want to join the group, and I'll send you a link to that. But I want to leave some time for any questions or comments. Just drop them in the chat. Also, if you found this video helpful, please like it and share it. I would be very grateful. Or you can just tag family members or friends in the comments if you know that they need to hear this as well. But if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. I'll leave a little bit of time. Any questions? well, you're always welcome to drop them in the chat, send me a message, let's connect, and let's talk about protein, let's talk about nutrition. But otherwise, I hope that you have a blessed day, and I will see you again on Tuesday at 12 p.m. Central Time. Again, please like and share this video. So thanks again for joining me. I hope you have a great day.